everyone, and welcome to the World of Darkness news show under the big sign of AWOO. For those of you who watch us on Twitch right now, or not, unfortunately not for those of you who will watch us on YouTube, but at the beginning of the stream we were playing Kaitangata, song by Alien Weaponry, which is in the main menu of Werewolf the Apocalypse Earthblood. Werewolf developers want to make sure that these songs that are in the game are very much free to stream and to be on Twitch because they are in the game. And we know that nowadays there's a lot of issues that people are having with copyright strikes on their streams for the music which is in the games. This shouldn't happen on Twitch. They've been making sure with Twitch that there's not going to be any DMCA claims for this music. Unfortunately, I've just got the news from their community manager that YouTube seems to be having some problems with that, which is not something we wanted. So we're trying to make sure that this is not going to happen and people can stream these songs in the games easily. So yeah, zombie attack, I'm sorry if you guys can hear my baby, she's teething, so she's doing a lot of awoos herself today. There's going to be a lot of awoos on the stream. So anyway guys, today we have some news apart from Werewolf, but most importantly this is the day of the release of Werewolf the Apocalypse Earthblood, and because of that we're going to talk about this. I'm going to answer your questions. If you have questions about the game, gameplay or anything else which is kind of non-spoilery, I don't want to spoil too much, but I am free to tell you everything right now, so I'm really glad about that. And if you have any questions before getting the game or anything like that, just throw them at me. And I'm also going to show you a part of the game, not from the very beginning, which you probably have seen already, or maybe you will have played some of the beginning already, or maybe you are completely not seeing anything from the game yet, but you are thinking about what the game is like. So I've picked a little part of the game, which is not at the beginning, but a little later, which shows you a bigger variety of mechanics and things that Earthblood provides to give you a better glimpse on the gameplay itself and what can you expect from Werewolf the Apocalypse Earthblood. I'm going to end the stream with that. I'm going to show you the gameplay at the very end. So yeah, when Werewolf the Apocalypse core book, it is in development currently. We're working on it, so we cannot commit to any dates as for now, because you know it's still a year, this kind of a year which we had last year, where unfortunately when it comes to deliveries, mostly you know printing and publishing and getting stuff out, it's difficult. So with Companion it was much easier because it was a digital free release, but with Werewolf, you know, it would be great to have a physical copy in people's hands. So we're going to let you guys know as soon as we know, but it is in development. We are working currently on Sabbat book and we're working on Werewolf core book. So V5 Werewolf and Sabbat for Vampire the Masquerade V5 are in the works right now. Someone is also asking about LA by Night and the continuation. We don't have, unfortunately, any announcements regarding LA by Night just yet, but I know from the cast members that they cannot wait to play again, and they would love to, you know, be able to be in one room and just roleplay together. But you know, we have difficult times when it would be very, very hard to organize it without the Talking Heads format, digital format, which I feel like LA by Night would lose a lot of its charm if people weren't in the same room as they used to be. So we're still waiting on any announcements about these. So guys, I'm going to jump very quickly into the news before we're going to talk more about Werewolf. If you have any questions about Earthblood, please prepare them and throw them at me later on. I would love to answer them all. But I will start with the general news and tell you what we're going to talk about today before we get to the awoos. And I have some news regarding Coteries and Shadows, for those of you who enjoyed or plan to enjoy the visual novels of Vampire the Masquerade. Some things for you card game likers, is that even the word? Release date for Vampire the Masquerade Rivals is approaching super quickly, and we are also going to have RenegadeCon next week with more information regarding these and some other little news and stuff. I will also announce the guest for next week, which is going to be super fun. So let's start very quickly with Rivals. we have releases after releases. It's kind of funny how, this week we had Earthblood. Next week we're going to have Vampire the Masquerade Rivals releasing on February 12th. For those of you not familiar with the game itself, it's an expandable card game which is going to launch with 4 basic decks which you can mix up. You can create the decks using various discipline powers and stuff. But you're going to start with a deck of Clan Malkavian, Toriator, Bruja, and Ventru. These 4 decks are included in the base edition, and it's a game about vampiric rivalry. The base game takes place in San Francisco, so there's a lot of themes which might be familiar to those of you who wear or read anything about so-called Frisco. I don't know if this is a trendy way of saying it, but I remember from books I've read back in the days, people call it Frisco. So the rivalry basically is that you play against another player at the table. If there's 4 players at the table, so Toriator might be your rival, but the Toriator's rival is Ventru. So it's kind of like going around and trying to make sure that your rival is not better than you. Which mimics very nicely role-playing sessions and some big vampiric politicking among either Camarilla or Anarchs. If you like playing Bruja, kind of feel very anarchy in this game, while playing Ventru feels much more Camarilla-centered. And you could actually see some of the gameplays already on YouTube. If you go to Renegade YouTube channel, you can actually see a game in which I participate, and I'm trying to get some big rivalry with B. Dave Walters from LA by Night. And we're having a lot of fun with it. So there's a lot of test games, and you will be also able to play this game yourself during RenegadeCon next week. They are organizing various playtests on their Discord channel pretty often, so you can check out with them when and how to sign up for that. But there's going to be also additional vampiric-related events on RenegadeCon. It's going to take place from February 12th to February 14th on the Renegade Twitch channel. And there's going to be a workshop about creating cards for this game, for example, and also an interview with yours truly. So if you want to see more of us and hear more from us regarding rivals and regarding vampiric community and stuff like that, I invite you very nicely to participate. I'm going to talk about it a little bit more next week, but if you haven't pre-ordered or haven't checked out Rivals yet, I think it's a very good time. In a week it releases, and we're very happy about this. I really enjoyed playing this game a lot. I really hope to bring it to you maybe in the digital formats for now here on Twitch, so we can show you how it works in the practice a little bit more, because we've been just enjoying playing it a lot, and it's been hard to play physically these days, but at least in the digital form we can showcase it to you, although it's not the same, but always something. People in the chat are having some questions. Is it true that Auster has teamed up with Matthew Dawkins to write a sourcebook for a sourcebook set in Poland's Tatra Mountains that will be a V5 VTN Vampire the Masquerade crossover? It's a wonderful idea, but I don't know anything about this. I'm sorry. It's a great idea, though. I mean, I would love to play V5 in Tatra Mountains. I might make a campaign like this one day, but unfortunately, this is not any plans. It's a pretty nice rumor, though. I love it. It's super interesting. Get on it, Matthew! I'm going to yell at him. Sure. Tatra Mountains are beautiful mountains in southern Poland, which I feel like historically in Vampire the Masquerade lore, I think they were, no, not the Tatra Mountains, Carpathian Mountains were mentioned as a Tsimici region. I feel like it was in one of the very, very old Vampire the Masquerade books, but I feel like Polish mountains in general were historically associated with Tsimici, at least by Polish players. So Tsimici campaign based in Tatra Mountains, I would love that. Sign me up, but I don't know anything about it. And so regarding Polish World of Darkness content, we have Alice Games who are translating the games to Polish currently. So Vampire the Masquerade, Vampir Maskarada has already released. I actually have it right behind my green screen here. The Polish core book for Vampire the Masquerade 5th edition. And they're going to also release more books in Polish. So I'm going to jump to next news because I cannot wait to show you a little bit more of Earthblood. But we also have some news from Coteries of New York and Shadows of New York peeps. For those of you waiting for translations, because I know a lot of people are asking about these, Coteries of New York is available in French and Brazilian Portuguese already. These releases took place in December. I haven't had a chance to talk about them just yet. There's also a planned Russian translation, which I did mention on one of the previous streams, but it has been moved to this year. So it's going to be released this year. If you're waiting for translations for these games, Brazilian Portuguese and French are ready right now, and Russian is going to be ready this year. Additionally, Shadows of New York is going to be translated into French. So if you are a French-speaking player, or if you know French-speaking players who are willing to play these games once they get the translation, Shadows is going to get one too. Another plus that we are having right now, PlayStation Plus. So PlayStation actually has a pretty good sale for Kony and Sony right now, down to 60% off of both of the games. So you can check it out on PlayStation Store. I believe it's a little bit different depending on the localization, but on my end in Sweden, one of them costed $8 and the other $9. So it was like very cheap for each game. So check out how much it costs in your location. And if you haven't had the game for a PS or on any platform yet, the PS has a pretty good sale right now. Any chance of seeing new content converted for virtual tabletops? This is a very good question. We're looking into potential partnerships and potential ways of expanding what we have already out there, which is Fantasy Grounds, for example. But yeah, we're looking into it. So once we have any news regarding that, we'll let you know. But this is something we're very, very actively exploring, mostly because, you know, we have a situation where a lot of people don't have a chance to play the game in person and role play with each other in person, and we want to help. So one of the things that we are going to actually do next week, and I'm going to talk about it on the next World of Darkness news, is expanding the Dark Pack a little bit more. So it's going to be a bit easier for you guys to create your own potential help for digital role-playing. And in regarding to exactly how and what, I'm going to let you know next week when we are going to publish the update to the Dark Pack. But we've been working on it recently because we've had a lot of people contacting us trying to do something, but not finding it in the Dark Pack and not knowing if it's legal. And it's kind of like difficult for us because the World of Darkness licensing team and, you know, the people who are working in the brand team itself, there are not many of us. So we are getting tons of these potential, you know, can we do this? Can we do that? Is this legal to do? We as a community want to expand this kind of a project that we're doing and share it with more people. So we don't have, unfortunately, enough workforce to take care of all of these awesome community projects. And that's why Dark Pack is really helpful, because with the help of Dark Pack, you don't have to, if you commit to that, to Dark Pack, you don't have to contact us. You can just like do things and publish them, and then, you know, get money on Patreon or Ko-fi or on your Twitch and YouTube channels, monetize your videos when you are, you know, using some of the Vampire the Masquerade or Werewolf content or anything that you want from World of Darkness. And we want to have it allowed. We want just people to enjoy this. So we are going to expand it, and I'm going to talk about it a little bit more next week. So that's it. I love some of the new V5 card games and board games in the Steam version game. That's a really nice idea as well. I feel like your best bet would be to let people who are developing these games know, and, you know, tell them that this is something that you would love to see. I feel like this is something that a lot of board game companies are exploring these days, and if you are willing to talk to them and let them know that this is a great idea, then I really hope they will listen. Of course, if they have enough workforce to do that. Chapters is available on both Tabletop and Tabletop Simulator in like the prologue demo form, so you can check out Vampire the Masquerade chapters on these two platforms already. I believe Vendetta is also available. Rivals is available event-based, so they organize events during which they unlock it and it's available for players. And additionally, one of the older Vampire the Masquerade games, Princess Gambit, developed by Justin Achille, is actually available on Steam in Tabletop Simulator as well. So you can check it out. Someone just modded it in, and and it's there. And it was a free game back in the day, so you can check it out on Tabletop Simulator. I'm sorry you can hear a lot of zombies back then, but my daughter is fluctuating in between crying and laughing currently. So that's the situation. I hope it's not too disruptive. So yeah, I have one more news before we jump into Werewolf and talking about Werewolf the Apocalypse. Princess Gambit, oh yeah, people asking about it. It's very much like Mafia. If you played Among Us, if you played Mafia, if you played Secret Hitler, if you played, social deduction games like this, Princess Gambit is kind of in the same vein, let's say. We should probably get the team one day and play it together. I would really love to play it with the other team members. Yeah, tipping is rough, unfortunately. Okay, but jumping into more news. Vampire the Masquerade Insta, I really want to encourage you guys to check out what we're doing there right now, because I am doing a kind of lot of things using Insta as kind of like a tool to connect with the community. So recently I've committed to post there every single day using either content that we have from various Vampire the Masquerade products all around to give you some really cool visuals and visual inspiration for your campaigns, but also from our cosplayers, artists, people in the community who are willing to share and show their stuff to the greater public. So if you are one of the artists, cosplayers, Vampire the Masquerade people, family members, and you are creating any of the visual content that you want to share with the community, just feel free to let us know. DM us on Instagram, and we are sharing a lot of cool stuff. You can check out some impressive cosplays that we've shared recently. And also I'm looking more deeply into AR possibilities on VTM, because people just like to have fun with various AR functions. And as I'm slowly learning it, you might see some more complex AR filters available on our Instagram. I've shared the very first one, which is very simple, and that's just having fun. And the program is basically assigning you a clan from Vampire the Masquerade. So you can check out which of the Vampire the Masquerade clans you are. That's available currently, and more will be available in the future. So we're having a lot of fun in there. And if you haven't followed us yet, this is the QR code, and you can check us out in there. Will there be any more projects featuring the Tinder AR, which you've written as Tinder AR? We don't have anything to do with Tinder, but when it comes to Tinder, I don't have any announcements as for now, unfortunately. But I personally loved Tinder. I had so much fun with it. So I really hope that the project is not going to be forgotten. And maybe we're going to go back to it one day, or maybe the community will. We'll see. But yeah, no announcements regarding Tinder as of yet. All right, guys, we're going to jump straight into the star of the show, today's very furry star of the show, which is, of course, Werewolf. And Werewolf the Apocalypse Earthblood is officially out. And it's out on consoles, it's out on Epic, it will be out on Steam as well. So if you're waiting for Steam version, the Epic exclusivity is timed, it's not forever. So Steam is going to have its version available later down the year. But when it comes to current availability of the game, there's one news I have for you, unfortunately, regarding to players who are in UK currently, and if you want to have a physical copy for Xbox. Because of the delivery problems and partially caused by Brexit, unfortunately, Xbox copies of the game, physical copies of the game, will reach UK, I believe, on February 12th. You can check it out on the Werewolf the Apocalypse Twitter to check for any updates, but physical copies for Xbox in the UK are delayed, so that's the only version which unfortunately didn't see the release today. But of course you can get the digital version already, or you can get the physical version for PS. But if you have Xbox, the only way to play right now in the UK is digitally. So if you get the digital copy. If you want a physical box set, then you need to wait a little bit more. It's something that developers didn't have any impact on. They are really heartbroken about this, that the game hasn't reached the stores in time. But, it's sometimes unexpected occurrences. happen. Yes, Chris is there in chat. Chris is a wonderful community manager for Werewolf the Apocalypse, Earthblood, and for Vampire the Masquerade Swansong. These two games are made by different developers. One is made by Cynet Studios, the other by Big Bad Wolf, and they're both published by Naken. So that's the publisher for both of them. And Chris is doing a great job managing the community for both of these games. Werewolf also has its own Discord if you wanna like ask more questions in there. Yeah, if you have questions about pre-order bonuses to Steam and all, I feel like it's best to be directed to Chris and to Werewolf the Apocalypse team, because I don't have that information right now. People are downloading their pre-orders on Epic currently. The preloads on consoles worked pretty well as far as I know. A lot of people have played this game already, and some retailers actually were super quick with getting the game out a little bit too early. That's why we could see some of the gameplay here and there on YouTube shared by people who didn't know about the embargo, because the game reached their hands a bit too early. But right now the embargo is off, all the reviews are out, and we can safely talk about this game a lot. Is this an RPG, people are asking? I feel like it's much more of an action game, and it's safe to say that it's a game where you the RPG elements that you might find is of course the skill trees, so you can unlock different abilities of your character. There's some options in dialogues. There's one really impactful choice throughout the game which defines your ending, because there are multiple endings. But mostly it's an action game. So you're going to be playing as a set character, you're not going to pick your character, and Kahal is going for the game kind of like steered by you towards particular build or the particular way that you want to play this game, but that's the extent of the role-playing, I would say. I'm going to actually play some of the Earthblood and show you how the game looks like and what mechanics it has. If you have any questions about the game itself, like what it conveys, how it works, how things work, what's best, I am very happy to answer. I have like 22 hours clocked in, so I feel like I'm not too bad when it comes to delivering information. I finished this game earlier this week, and yeah, approximately how familiar do you gotta be with Werewolf the Apocalypse to play and understand the game? None at all. Absolutely nothing. Like, some of the jargon that is used in the game might seem unfamiliar to you at first. There's sometimes moments when characters talk and they use plenty of names of the tribes or some things from Werewolf the Apocalypse lore, which will be known to the role players, but it's all explained in the in-game dictionary, and I feel like it's not as much as I do have familiarity with Werewolf, of course, before playing this game, but I didn't feel like it was too overbearing. I feel like it's also not the game which is going very deep into the Werewolf the Apocalypse lore. It's using its basic components, kind of similarly to Coteries of New York, I would say, and going through the story around these elements. So I feel like the entry point is pretty okay. You don't have to know Werewolf the Apocalypse beforehand to play this game. Have you got any update on the modernization of Werewolf the Apocalypse for the TTRPG, the V5 that was in development? Yes, it is still in development, and as much as we don't have any reveals as of yet, we are working on it very hard to make sure that VTA 5th edition reaches you as soon as possible. So we're working on it. So currently the TTRPGs in the works, the TTRPG core books, source books, one core book, one source book that are in the works is Werewolf the Apocalypse 5th edition core book and Vampire the Masquerade V5 Sabbat. So these are the ones that we are working on currently. Okay, I don't have any news on anything else. I'm sorry. I don't have any news on Bloodlines. I don't have any upcoming charity news for charity events. This is something we're looking forward to, especially with some of our partners, which are doing some cool stuff. I'm not really sure if there's going to be any particular charity activation next week during RenegadeCon, but RenegadeCon is going to be the next event that is going to be surrounding World of Darkness in general. So next week, starting from February 12th, you can check out that on Renegade channel. And I'm going to jump very quickly into Earthblood and show you some of the things I wanted to show in the game, because we have a pretty good time in here to jump a little bit more into the game. I'm going to very quickly change the category on the stream that we are having, because we're going to jump into Earthblood. And again, I have a save prepared from a little bit later on in the game to give you a bit of a glimpse on the various mechanics. Who would you want to contact if you wanted to help work on vampire VTT content? Do you mean the tabletop content per se, Kilashandra, or what kind of a content? If you're a writer or an artist, I think, and you want to like work for, try your best to get into like Vampire the Masquerade content or Werewolf the Apocalypse content, I feel like it's either info@worldofdarkness.com if you want to contact us straight, or contact Renegade Game Studios for the help for any source books. I know that they're actively looking for artists and for people to work on potential core books and source books, not core books. We are working on the core books, but for the source books for our systems, so you can let them know that you're interested and send them your portfolio. Oh, the VTT. I'm sorry, that was the virtual tabletops. I misinterpreted your question. Yeah, that will be Fantasy Grounds directly. Anyway, I'm going to jump very quickly into the game, and of course there's Kaitangata in the background of the main menu. But yeah, I'm going to show you some basic parts of the game. I'm playing a developer version right now. I'm not playing the release version, but I do believe it's the same. There's no current differences in between the two. Something that is very interesting for people is the settings usually, so I tend to show them first before we go into them. I'm going to play using mouse and keyboard. That's how I usually play my video games. I rarely use the controller, so mouse and keyboard is my preferred mapping and my preferred controller for the game. Something I changed in here is the camera sensitivity. By default, for me playing with a mouse, it was a little bit too low. So for me, I actually, the default is 1.0 and I upped it to 1.5, which I think I could up it even more. So for me, camera sensitivity is something that on keyboard by default was a little bit too low, so I upped it. And we're going to play on max graphics. Everything is maxed in here. I have VSync on currently, but no, we have it off. Do we have it off on? We're going to put it off, I think. That's fine. The controls for Xbox controller, I think, are going to be very, very easy to grasp, but I'm playing on the keyboard, so that's my preferred choice of input. Let's go play, and as you can see, I finished the game on February 2nd, so that was my final save. We're not going to go there because that's spoilers. We're going to go here. This is the 14% into the game, so it's after the intro. Without spoiling you what happens there, I feel like it's going to be a pretty non-spoilery part, but it's the one that will show you to a bigger extent of what this game is about and what can you do in it. So let's go in there and check it out. This game is Werewolf the Apocalypse Earthblood. It just released today. It's based on Werewolf the Apocalypse lore, and it's the very first 3D action game based on this lore. So we are glad to have it out, and I'm very glad that Werewolf the Apocalypse fans, after so many years, finally have a game like this. It's really cool. So we're going to continue, and let's go straight into the game. As you can see, I really hope that Twitch is going to, OBS is going to capture it nicely, because the game works pretty flawlessly for me. I have a pretty good rig too, but the game doesn't really have a very high expectations of your gear, of your hardware. You can easily check out the requirements on the Werewolf the Apocalypse Epic page, Earthblood Epic page, but the game is working just completely flawlessly on the max max settings for me. It's also very fast, so I don't know how the filtering in OBS is going to show it to you guys. I sometimes saw in the gameplay trailers that the game was like pixelated in some of the points. This doesn't actually appear in the game, which like looks really good, but I feel like capturing it is sometimes a little bit too difficult. So yeah, we are playing as Cahal, who is this buff wolf dude, or how I used to call him Wolf Dad, because he's very much a wolf dad. And you can play in 3 different forms. It's a homid form, which is the form of a human. It's a lupus form, in which I spent the most of the time in the game because it's the fastest, and you can explore the environment very quickly using it. Or the Crinus form, which you use in the battles, in combat. When I was playing this game, I very often tried my best to be stealthy and to go very quietly for the game, but then I just accidentally pressed the Crinus button, or I just failed something and I was just destroying everyone. So this is our cairn. Cairn is the let's say haven for those of you who played Vampire the Masquerade for werewolves, and this is where our pack resides. So the cairn is formed around the current spirits. You can actually see our spirit once we will enter the penumbra view. And now I will actually show you the penumbra view and how it works. This is the Endron facility. This whole game is about us fighting Endron, which is one of the Pentex subsidiaries, the company which destroys nature. As you can see, the ecological theme of this game is very prevalent. That's very much of a core of a theme of Werewolf the Apocalypse, and that's explored in this game. So, penumbra view is when you press R in the game, you go into this kind of like a red zone. For me, it's similar to Witcher senses, but that's how I remember it. And in the penumbra zone, as you can see, you can not only, once you are in the combat, you will actually see enemies and their state, and maybe how different electronic devices are connected in Endron facilities, so where to unplug something and where to plug something else. But also you see the spirits, and you can talk to the spirits in the human form, and you can discuss, get some more information about the lore of the game. So not only that, but also you can see some bigger spirits in the penumbra form. So when you are here, when you do penumbra, it's like, whoop, hello there. So this is Ethan. Ethan is our guardian spirit of the cairn, and we can talk to him as well. We can reset the skills right now. We had a conversation with him before I had the save, but I recommend going back to Ethan a few times around the game, especially once you finish some quests and you go back to the base, so here, because he sometimes has side quests for you. Right now we have a side quest from him to talk to the spirits and bring them back to him. I'm going to show you the menu in here. So this is the skills menu, in which you can unlock various abilities for Cahal. We can start with going very generally through them and me giving you a little bit of an advice of what I think is great. Healing is always awesome and useful in this game because you are going to get a lot of damage, especially with silver. Silver is unfortunately one of the most painful aspects of Endron attacking you in this game. So that's why I really recommend to collect these points and invest in this skill as soon as you can. Being able to partially heal silver wounds for Crinus is super important because it's kind of like aggravated damage in bloodlines. If you remember the yellow bar which was accumulating, here it's a light blue bar on your health bar, and that's a silver damage which never heals in Crinus. Only after you finish the fight and go out of the Crinus farm it can be healed, which means that it forever locks your HP points when you are in the battle. So this is one of the most important skills in the game, in my opinion. There's also the agile stance and heavy stance. I will show you them a little bit more later in the showcase, but you can shift in between them in the game. I've seen some reviewers saying that they've never used heavy stance, and I just don't know why. Like it's the most useful stance in my opinion. It gets the most damage done. It's pretty slow, but it's very I feel like it's much safer than agile. Of course, once you accumulate enough rage points during the fight, you can enter frenzy and you can destroy everything in your way. This is also a very useful ability once you get into the frenzy. And then you have some more regarding the takedown, stealthy takedown, stealth itself, marksmanship for using your crossbow, being able to move around in lupus form and seeing more, or camouflaging yourself in lupus form, which is something for your stealthy players, and getting more slots in the rage, which I think like this one is one of the most useful ones, because rage is kind of like your mana in the game. You can spend rage to unleash your special powers on the enemies. There's two missions which you have right now. We have the secondary objective of appeasing the spirits of fallen soldiers, so that's us going around the forest and trying to find these spirits. And there's also infiltrating Endron's training center, which we're going to do, and that's going to be fun. So we can go around, we can talk to the to people. We can also, as you can see, there are some little dialogue.
She was in the back tending to the wounded.
Slav spirit.
It's all my fault. They had a sniper. I just couldn't take him out in time.
As you can see, some of the herbs in their lights, kind of like a little light in here, and these are the Gaia elements that carry spirits. So if you enter the Penumbra view in it, you can actually interact with the spirits and get some of the spirit points for yourself. This is how you level up. Of course, it also happens when you progress in the game, or when you talk to Ethan. Sometimes he gives you some spirit powers, but find some little planties around the game in order to level up, especially in Endron facilities, which are extremely cold, and there's like nothing natural in there. Sometimes you can see nature trying to overcome this Endron's pool and trying to get a little bit more of their presence in there. So like little plants growing here and there, even like pot plants, they carry the spirit of the Gaia, so you can absorb it in order to level up. This is one of the things that you can find in the game. You can of course find useful things in the game, like crossbow bolts. I think there's some in here. Yeah, we have crossbow bolts, and also we have full of them. And also one more thing, Cahal has an issue with alcohol, and that's bad for him, but good for us. If you collect alcohol, you can actually use it and drink it throughout the game in order to gain some more rage, which is very useful, especially before the boss battles. If you are going to fight the boss battle, get some bottles of that Jack Daniels and drink them before the battle, because it's going to help you be more angry. There's a lot of little notes around the game which are kind of important to enlarge the lore and the story of the game, especially when it comes to the characters. So if you want to get more background on them, read these notes. They're fun. There's a lot of little tidbits in there. And Cahal very often provides his own ideas on that. Liquid rage, I know, right? So now I'm going to, I guess, finally go a little bit more deeper into the gameplay. This is Rotko, by the way. Rotko is a Silver Fang. We've talked to him already. He got wounded in battle, and we are playing as a werewolf of tribe Fianna. This is a Silver Fang. We also have some glass workers in there, and later on in the game you will also meet Black Spiral Dancers and Red Talons, if you are wondering which tribes are featured in the game. We have some more of the spirits. I'm going to sniff some spirits and I'm going to run straight into Endron facility to show you a little bit more of the gameplay itself. Hello there.
Recruiting at their training center. Then perhaps I need to enlist.
This is going to be fun. There are various ways of approaching each mission. You can, of course, be a total werewolf, just destroy everything on your way, Krenos it out, but you can also try your best to be stealthy and sneaky. Yeah, this is a homid area, so there are going to be few areas in the game in which you will be in Endron facilities or around them, in which you can safely be in homid form, so you can be a human there. If you turn into a wolf, everyone is going to freak out, obviously. It's like a masquerade violation, right? But it's breaking the veil. But if you are in the human form, no one will really pay attention to what you do. So that's good, but it's also something that is very volatile, as we are very volatile men, and this status quo can break very quickly if we just get mad enough.
Kit they're supplying people with must be worth a fortune.
Will you dance the spiral?
Pump action rifles with holographic sights? Even the army doesn't have that shit yet.
Yes, Azuriel, Cahal is very negative towards the the way Fianna are described. There's a moment in this game where you can actually find a note about Clan Fianna, and when he reads it, he just laughs it out, because he's a very untypical Fianna. He actually does operate technology pretty well. He uses computers, he hacks something sometimes even, so he's a very original Fianna member. Okay, let's try it out. Hi, Mr. Andrew guy.
You here to enlist?
Okay, so this is interesting. You can choose some dialogue options in here, and if you fail the dialogue, every time you do something wrong in a dialogue, every time your words are not taken properly by your partner in the conversation, you get angry. As I said, Chaos has some issues with anger management, so if you don't score a good dialogue enough, he might just turn to Krynos and start destroying everything. So just saying, you might also skip it all, you can enrage anytime, not try to even talk to these Endron bastards, and just destroy them. Which is one of the funniest mechanics in the game, because sometimes I'm just like, oh my god, I forgot what they said about this particular thing. Like, because sometimes you need to get information from other people in order to get to certain places or get some quests done purely by dialogue. And me being unable to do this ended up with me just destroying everyone. And it's fine. The game tolerates this way as well. So I'm going to lie in here.
That's the spirit. Did you register on our website?
It's like a role. No, it's about your choice.
Can't say I blame you. What's your name?
Kahal Phil.
Kahalfilan.
Hell of a name. There you go. You're on the list. All right then. Go report to the instructor for testing. He's in the warehouse. Oh, and one last thing. Looking at you, it's pretty obvious you've done some time. Try not to mention that. The instructor hates ex-cons.
I'm not going to enrage yet, but I'm going to probably enrage a little bit more in the future, just to show you how it works. Will you see any other creatures from World of Darkness? I would say that this game is mostly focused on spirits and werewolves. So you are going to mostly meet other werewolves, but it's not entirely 100% sure that no one else in the game that you meet or you will see is no other supernatural creature. But if you are looking forward to like some more meaningful and deep encounters with mages or vampires in this game, this is very much of a werewolf game, so you won't find that.
Welcome.
Hello.
Sign up. You have to talk to the instructor. Head over to that building in the courtyard.
Okay, so right now we can walk through this place freely, which is good, because I can show you some additional little things maybe. Do you see these doors? So every time you see orange doors, this should put a little lights in your head. Orange doors are the doors through which the reinforcements are called. So if I would enrage right now, start to kill everyone around me, the reinforcements would come through these doors. And sometimes near these orange doors, there are little electrical panels which allow you to sabotage them. I actually do not see them anywhere here. Maybe if I go around. Cool. No, this particular area doesn't have them. But very often in the stealthy areas you have little orange boxes which you can sabotage in order to damage the opponents coming from the reinforcement areas. So it's good to know where they come from. This is the place where you stand in Krynos form and punch them to their death when they appear. We're going to not punch everyone to the death just yet. We're going to go forward and see what is happening in here. Yeah, there are also vents, as you can see. Vents with with green lightning are the ones you can enter with lupus form, so you can travel through the vents as well. Sometimes vents are kind of hard to notice because they are up on some shelves or above the eye level. So it took me some time to find some additional ways to go trespass the levels, but it's always useful. Hello.
I'm here to be recruited.
There are a lot of silver bullets in the game.
How'd you make it through the physical without breaking a hip?
Haha, very funny.
All right, Gramps. Let me just find you on the list here.
Make up a name. I'm going to do bad choices right now, okay?
The name's Mitchell.
No Mitchell on my list. I'm warning you now. We don't take kindly to recruits who fuck around. So,
Oops.
what's your story?
My story? I'm going to talk about criminal records.
Fresh out of prison. 5 years. Heard Endron could give me a new start.
Yeah, I could smell it on you. People like you are the fucking scum of the earth, you know that? If it were up to me, all you'd get is a bullet in the head. But Engine's looking to fill its ranks, so we've got to take whatever we can get.
Okay.
Let's get down to business. You ready for the interview?
I'm going to threaten him.
What is this interview bullshit? What fucking engine shrink needed to justify their paycheck this month? Just give me a gun.
Slow down, cowboy. What makes you think you can just show up and demand a badge and a gun without
Oopsie.
telling us who you are or where you came from?
I know what I'm worth.
You know what, old man? I'm gonna give you a chance. You've got a 1-week probationary period, but if you fuck up,
You know
your
what?
ass is mine.
You anger me. I'm going to destroy you, you Andron scum. It's over. Oh my god, there's a lot of them in here. Oh my goodness, maybe that wasn't a very good idea. You know what? Or maybe it is. There's some people, as you can see, some additional enemies there, which use pretty big bullets here, and the big ones with shields as well. But I'm going to frenzy. It's fine. Hi guys. I heard that you have big shields which protect you against werewolves. Oh, and they have electric rods as well. That was pretty quick. I had a rage on, so that was easy.
To Andrew and the worm. Death is a blessing.
You should see a command post overlooking the waiting room. You'll have a computer inside and a service door leading into the mine. That computer will allow you to open the service door and cut communications with the lower floor. The people in the training center will have no idea what's going on just above their heads.
This is pretty early in the game, so it was still pretty easy, and because I enraged myself so much during the interview, I was able to enter Frenzy pretty early, and Frenzy really helps with every single fight you have. But later on in the game, it might end up with a very quick death. But yeah, we were able to do this very quickly. And now we're going through the vents, as we suppose in the more stealthy way. One thing about this game, something that is partially a reason why, you know, Endron is just, they're stupid, okay? They're not very smart. So even if you start a complete wreckage in one area, the other area is not going to be informed about. So don't worry about completely crossing out all stealth opportunities in most of the Endron bases you're going to check out. Not all of them, but in most of them, if you destroy everyone in one room, you can still go stealthy for the other. So you can mix up the gameplay. And it's a little bit more fun this way from the gameplay perspective, although it does show how stupid Endron is. Yeah, you can actually right now we will be able to go to another place and be stealthy and show you a different kind of a gameplay. So I'm going to open the door and turn on the lift, and this time I'm going to try to be stealthy. Let's see. No one will notice a thing. Actually, is there someone here? No, I don't think so. We should be fine just going up there. But up there, I feel, or down there, we should actually try a little bit more stealth. Probably. BL2 is in development, but I don't have any news for you right now. I'm sorry. Good things come to people who wait. So as soon as we have more news and more reveals from dev, I will love to show it to you as soon as possible. I will yell everywhere about this. But as for now, we gotta wait a little bit more. Okay, so they are coming here to check. Oh yeah, because someone is in the elevator, of course. So this is like a little bit of a more stealth gameplay. If I would come and be in the view right now, he could start an alarm. But if I take him down soon enough, this shouldn't be a problem. I'm going to... okay, he's coming here. That's fine. I can actually take him down right here. So the eye on top of their heads is white if you are in the perimeter, but they are not yet alarmed. It's orange if they are already alarmed because they are sure they saw something, and red if the alarm is off. So once he sees you, he has a second in which he's going to grab his phone and say, "We have someone in there, there's an alarm." And then everyone in the area is going to be on your ass and try to find you. And there's like the AI works this way that they are actually going to be pulled towards your area. So you gotta move, or you gotta find a way to either fight them openly or somehow get through that safely. Also, if they will see a body, of course, if the dead body is in their view, they will also start an alarm. So if I would kill one guy in here now, and the other would just notice the body later on. They would start the alarm as well. So yeah, I feel like stealth gameplay is pretty satisfactory in the game, but if it fails, you can just destroy everyone in Krenos, so it's always good. As you can see, the white eyes appeared, which means that they saw me in the perimeter, but they didn't start the alarm yet, because the white eyes need to feel in order for that to work. It's pretty similar to like if you play Deus Ex or other stealthy games. You should get a grip on it very, very quickly. Where do we have to go? We have to go up there, actually, which is right there. And there's a camera right in front of this thing. The camera is moving a bit. Just a little bit. Where can I disable the camera, I wonder? Because if I will go here, I'm afraid this guy will see me. Oh yeah, he actually sees me already. One more mechanic I can show you is barking. I can do a little woof. And this is going to alert the guy who is nearby, or guys if they are nearby, and he's going to come closer. And I can use this time to take him down. So woofing is useful. There are two woo buttons. This is one, it's a bark button, and the other one you can unlock in your agile stance. It's the ability to roar and basically make your enemies flop in front of you. I wonder if I can just like do this. I think I can. There we go. That's good. Can they pet you? No, you cannot pet the dog in this game. That's one of the biggest minuses, I'm sorry. No petting the doggo. Press X to barf. There are two AWU buttons. I mean, there's bark button and there's an AWU button. I'm going to show you in a second where it is in the skill tree. You have to unlock it, but it's there.
I'm in the mine.
We're in the mine!
In the center of the site, there should be a service door that leads there.
Sure. So, actually I do have some points to spend. I have 3 spirit points. So, where's the AWU button? It's somewhere here. Hull, there we go. Hull of the Wild. Roar now has an increased area, or is it here? The credits can now roar. A roar will knock surrounding enemies down, so this is great, but I feel like the most useful one is... I think it's the rush. Or I'm going to check it out in the battle. Basically, the ability which shows up under the button number 3 in the heavy stance is someone I've been using tons in this game. And I would also love to get this one because I want to get a little bit more camouflage later on in the game. I've been spending my points one by one, as you can see, but I recommend to save the points to spend more for higher abilities, because they require either 2 spirit points or 3 spirit points to spend. This is sabotaging, so as I said, these are the reinforcement doors, and sabotaging damages every enemy which could potentially go out from here, which is very, very, very useful for when you are actually going to destroy people. I feel like if I kill this guy right now, he's going to see. Maybe not. Maybe not. Yeah, there we go. And we have a little bit of a baby of Gaia in here, coming through the concrete of Endron. The little plants, if you ever see something green in Endron facilities, there is a possibility of getting spirit points from most of these things. Not all of them, but most of them do have a little bit of an additional boost for you. And I'm going to go through it. So when it comes to how the gameplay in general changes throughout the game, there is definitely a difficulty spike. Oh, okay, we have a flask. I'm going to go back and drink something in order to collect another one. Hello there. He has an alcohol issue, okay? Cahal really does have a very weird contact with alcohol, let's say, relationship with alcohol. So the difficulty spikes pretty much later on in the game when you have some boss fights, which you meet. The facilities are going to be more and more difficult to traverse as well, but also later on in the game, I hope it's not spoiler enough because it was in the gameplay shown already and in some trailers, Endron is basically developing Fomori. So you will be able to fight Fomori later on in the game, and going into Penumbra Vision is going to show you these poor humans working in the facility. Some of them are going to be infected by the worm, and once you battle with them, they might go through the transformation and turn into someone way more difficult to fight. I think I can actually very quickly just go in here. Oh wait, that's the other way around. We need to go here. Damn. Okay, we have a camera in here as well. We have 2 guards. So this starts to get a little bit more difficult and to go through in the stealth. I'm going to try my best to sabotage things in order to make my battle a little bit easier, and I'm going to show you the combat once more. And I would love to answer any of your questions that you have about this game. There we go. Oh no! The camera saw me. There we go. We're not able to do this properly. So now I'm in agile stance. So now when I press my 2, I'm going to leap on my enemies, and I press 3, I'm going to roar. There we go. So roaring actually allows me to push them down. I can also dash around, as you can see I'm doing when they're trying to shoot me. And this is the heavy stance, which I'm using way more. And my ability under 3 on agile, on strong stance, is something I've been using plenty against bigger enemies. I'm going to find a bigger enemy to show you that one. Here. Perfect. Alright. This actually helps me plenty with destroying these enemies in a very quick go. You can do various interesting combos. As you can see, this wasn't a special ability, it was a combo I've done by using various abilities that I have by default, which is right click, left click, and jump attack. By combining these different, because if you just spam left click, you're going to go through your enemies way slower than if you combine them in the combos. So my usual technique is decide on one of the abilities which you feel is the best. Don't overuse abilities, because the same mana that you use on abilities is also used on healing, which especially later on in the game is super important. Heal as much as you can, and combine different attacks with each other in order to deal the biggest damage. So that's space, left, and right click in the correct order is going to give you much more damage than just spamming the buttons, which this might look like a spammy button game, but I find that especially in the boss fights, it's just way more useful to have a strategy, and you can get through it quicker. I was able to get through the last boss in the game on the first try using these techniques, but there are some bosses which actually got me a little bit more trouble. So yeah. Where are the bodies? They were devoured by the worm. If you have any more questions, I'm going to that was basically like a little bit of a showcase of Earthblood. This is a little bit early in the game. Later on in the game, you can traverse the forest and the surroundings a little bit more for the side quests for Ifen. There's one side quest which I haven't finished in the game, which is about finding all of the spirits of the forest. I was able to find the bear and the deer, but there are apparently more animals which I haven't been able to locate. So it's good to, even though the game is not open world by any means, it's pretty much like enclosed areas, but there's a lot of little tunnels, little places to explore that you can get through and find your way around it. So yeah, Werewolf the Apocalypse Earthblood, very much of an action-driven game, in which what I liked the most about this game when I played it, and I didn't really think it would be very much of my kind of a game, because again, I've never played Prototype or Darksiders, I've never played games that this game was inspired by, and knowing that this game is very much based on combat and it doesn't really have that many choices or very core RPG elements, I don't know what I will think about this, but in the end it felt like a lot of these gameplay loops in this game were just satisfactory, and there's a lot of things that were just fun to go through, that it felt like kind of a guilty pleasure. So I really hope that a lot of the Werewolf players are going to have a similar enjoyment out of this especially because you can just punch Android in the face and punch Pentex, which is kind of like a lot of Werewolf the Apocalypse campaigns and chronicles I've been a witness of, where you start off trying to be stealthy. There's a lot of missions like this in the game. It's like, you need to keep a low profile, Kahal. You need to do it stealthily. We are going in and going out silently, and then in the middle of it, you just like, you enrage, you go into Krynos and you destroy everything in your way, which is super fun. So I hope it's going to be also fun for us, for you guys. When it comes to general gameplay time, I would say it's about 8 hours-ish, 8-10 hours. Some people have been able to finish this game in 6 very quickly, just rushing through it. I feel like speed plays of this game are going to be interesting. I feel like they're going to be very quick. In Lupus form, you can like travel very, very quickly, just like freaking going through the enemies. If you are skilled enough, this might be interesting to watch. But yeah, I would assume like around 8 hours of gameplay and very much action focused, with a story which is going to touch a lot of the Werewolf the Apocalypse elements that you may be aware of from the tabletop game. Can you obtain all the skills in a single playthrough? Very good question. I wasn't able to. I don't know if you can. Maybe I didn't find enough spirit points around the game, because you sometimes need to dig pretty deep to find them. But I wasn't able to get all of them. I was actually about like 10 points short, so I feel like I would have to find a lot more to find them. So yeah, you can get most of the ones you want, but you definitely it's going to be definitely a little bit more harder to get all of them. I'm not sure if it's possible. Is this coming to Xbox Game Pass? I have no info on that, I'm sorry. I don't know. The 7th with Stealthy Wolfie. The Wolfie actually jumps super high, so that's funny. It's mostly because the Wolf can actually like really traverse the place very, very quickly, and you can like get through like in the forest through the rocks, and you can climb on the things pretty high, but the jump is so high, it's gonna hit. Can you drag and hide the bodies that you stealth take out? Not that I found an option. Chris, tell me if I'm wrong, but I don't think it's possible, which is a bit of a hassle sometimes, because you need to be very careful about where you kill people. But there's a way around this. Basically, I'm using a lot of borking. So I'm borking a lot in the game, and I'm dragging people when they're still alive. I'm dragging the living corpses to the places I want them to die on. I've posted a screenshot earlier on Discord about my strategy of playing this game, which I found to be most fun, except for, of course, going full rage, was to try to do piles of Endron people. So I was like always trying to get them the same exact place and making piles of takedowns in one particular place of the map. I've only tried Vampire the Masquerade so far from World of Darkness. How does Werewolf differ? Werewolf has it's in the same universe, of course. So this is the universe. World of Darkness is a universe in which werewolves share the space with vampires and changelings and wraiths and the others, right? But the theme of the game is a little bit different. So Werewolf the Apocalypse is also a personal horror tragedy game but the horror is a little bit more. It can be personal, of course, but there's a lot of more globality to the horror. It's about worm slowly. I'm going to show you the very intro to this game, which I think explains it very nicely, like one of the basic things about this game. Let me do it. Play. I'm going to delete this one and do new game and just show you the intro cutscene, because I think it explains it very well.
The Wild. The Weaver. And the Worm. 3 primal forces from which the world, Gaia, springs. The Wild is creation, formless and abundant. The Weaver shapes, making order out of chaos. The Worm, whose purpose was to destroy the old, to make room for the new, went mad. Now, a force of corruption, feeding on greed, malice, and hate. It ravages Gaia. Through its unwitting accomplices, mankind, the balance between those three forces is long gone now. Insidiously, the worm gains more and more ground every day, vitalized by the damage humans have brought to the Earth. We, the werewolves, remain, born of man, beast, and spirit. We are the vindication of Gaia and the wild.
There we go. I think it's a pretty good... I'm not going to show you the beginning of the game because I'm going to leave it to you once you will play it. But I think it's a very good introduction to the general concept of behind Werewolf the Apocalypse. So the wild has gone mad. The worm has gone mad, sorry. But the issue about Werewolf is that worm is winning. And it's not a winning fight that you as a werewolf you are going to fight. There's always going to be humans who are led by greed. There's always going to be evil in this world which tries to take over, and it's succeeding. So your fight as a werewolf is to try to prolong this battle. As you're not going to win it, you're trying to prolong it as long as you can with very furious resistance, which I think is one of the very core topics of the Apocalypse. But ultimately it's a lost fight, and how you're going to fight it, of course there's a way of Cahal in the game which is going to fight it with his own Crinus form, but you will meet other characters in the game which fight it in a different way. I feel like an interesting character there is Cahal's daughter, who refuses to go in the same footsteps as Cahal. She feels like his ways of doing things are, as much as they can be successful, sometimes they're not going to work in the long run. So there are some different views on that shown in the game as well. But Cahal is very much of a, we need to act now, we need to punch their faces and stop the evil, which, doesn't work that much, that often. It can work temporarily. So, yeah. That's the basic of Werewolf the Apocalypse. We would love to, before of course the V5 is going to release, to give you a little bit more information about that. If you want to dwell deeper into the world of Werewolf the Apocalypse, I also recommend Heart of the Forest, which is the other Werewolf the Apocalypse game we have out already, and that's very much of a story-driven introduction. So this game is super much of an action game. Heart of the Forest is much of a story game in which your choices shape what the outcome is going to be, and it invites you to the world of a werewolf through the eyes of the protagonist who has no idea about it. So it's a little bit... Cahal is, he's a werewolf, he knows about everything happening around, while Maya, the protagonist of Heart of the Forest, doesn't know anything. So if you take your first steps in Werewolf the Apocalypse, it might be also a good way to go this way and try to check out the world from a complete newbie perspective. But both games are great for people who have not played any werewolf in the past. Do werewolves have a beast equivalent? Yes, that's the rage. So they give into the rage. Yeah, you can hear the teething baby. I gotta go hacker very quickly in soon. But yeah, they do have the rage, which basically accumulates in them. The worm can take over. They can be infected by worm. They can be their anger can grow to the sizes which is uncontrollable. Rage is something that can be useful for werewolves to use it in the proper way, to use it in order to protect Gaia, but it's kind of like a double-edged sword. Just like I feel like Beast is sometimes the same, because Beast can also push you to like Massey Critical, to do something too well in Vampire the Masquerade V5, right? So you can like attempt to do something, there's a Massey Critical, you're doing it supernaturally well, which is not great in most of the scenarios. And I feel like Rage is similar. It can help you, but it can also hurt people around you very much. So yeah. So that's the worm that my dog had. Your dog had the worm. Anyway, yes, Chris is inviting you guys to Werewolf the Apocalypse Earthblood Discord server. You can check it out. The link is going to be down below on the YouTube, and Chris, you can also publish it on on Twitch right now, I'm going to permit you if you want to do it. I get told off. You can do it right now. I'm actually going to mod you here. You know, like you should be a mod. There we go. You're a mod right now. We can post all the links. So yeah, guys, if you have any more questions about Werewolf, you can ask either on that Discord or our Discord. I will be there to answer them. I had some pleasure playing this game and destroying the faces of Enron people. Also, some people will probably make a joke because one of the evil characters in this game looks like me, I bet. So if you want to punch me in the face, you can also do it in this game. So I hope you will enjoy it, guys, and let us know, of course, what you think about Earthblood once you play it, because we're going to look for opinions. And in the meantime, I'll see you next week. We're going to have a special guest from Level Up Dice. We're going to talk about dice making. So if you are a dice goblin, that's going to be a show for you next week on What News. Let's see each other there. See you later. Bye.